All right. So today we're going to dive into something kind of different.
Okay.
We're going to be looking at how you can improve your English
Okay.
by listening to people just chatting about swimming.
Interesting.
Yeah. And we've got some clips we're going to listen to.
Okay.
And then we're going to kind of like break down the language they're using.
All right. Sounds good.
So in this first clip, we're going to hear two English speakers
Yeah.
talking about different swimming styles.
Okay.
So as you listen, pay attention to the kinds of words they're using, like what verbs and adjectives,
I see.
and see if you notice anything interesting, like any double meanings.
Gotcha.
Okay, so let's dive in and take a listen.
All right.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
So they talked about the doggy paddle,
Right.
the breaststroke, and the backstroke.
Yeah, those are the classics.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And like even if you already know these swimming styles,
Right?
did you notice how they were using language to like
Yeah.
really paint a picture of what it looks like?
Yeah, definitely.
It's like you could almost see them swimming.
Exactly like when they said arms pulling
Mm-hmm.
and legs kicking and like gliding through the water.
Yes, exactly. And thinking about that,
Yeah.
like even if you're not a swimmer,
Uh-huh.
just understanding those verbs and adjectives
Right?
can help you describe all kinds of actions and movements in English.
Absolutely.
So it's all about making those connections
yeah.
and expanding your vocabulary.
For sure.
You know, I got to say, though, the doggy paddle always makes me laugh.
Yeah.
It's like such a basic way of staying afloat.
Yeah.
Like we revert back to our primal instincts
Totally.
when we get in the water.
But you know what's funny is that the term doggy paddle is also like a metaphor in English.
Oh, really?
Like you might hear someone say,
Right.
he's just doggy paddling his way through this project.
Oh, that's funny.
Meaning like he's not really excelling,
Right.
but he's managing to stay afloat.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's like a swimming term, but with a whole other meaning in a different context.
It is.
It's like learning a language is about more than just the words.
Right.
It's about how you can use them
Yeah,
in
exactly.
creative ways.
Yeah, that's where the fun is.
I know, right? So anything else stand out to you from that clip?
Well, actually, I was thinking about the phrase for a little while. They used it when they were talking about swimming,
Right.
but you could use it for like anything.
Yeah, that's true.
Like reading for a little while or working for a little while.
Right.
It's so versatile.
Yeah.
You can just use it for so many things.
Yeah, it's like a little tool
It is.
that you can keep in your back pocket.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a good reminder that sometimes you don't need fancy vocabulary
You
to
don't.
speak English well.
No, you just need the basics.
Right. And you know, it's funny you mentioned that because I was thinking
Yeah.
about the word towards.
Oh, yeah.
Like when they said swimming towards the shore.
Yeah,
It's such a small word,
it is.
but it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
You know, like imagine if they just said swim in the shore.
Yeah, that just sounds wrong.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
And I think prepositions are like that.
Yeah, they're really important.
They're so important, but they're easy to overlook.
Right, they are.
Okay, so before we move on,
Yeah.
I want to go back to the breaststroke for a second.
Okay.
They described it as being almost like a frog.
Right.
And that got me thinking,
Yeah.
like, do you think there are cultural differences
Mm.
in how people see and describe swimming styles?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Yeah,
I think you might be right because different cultures have different swimming traditions.
exactly.
So it makes sense that their language would reflect that.
Yeah, like maybe someone from Japan would describe the breaststroke completely differently than someone
Yeah.
from the U.S.
Totally.
That's a really cool thought.
It is.
Okay, but let's stay focused on this clip for now. We've got another one coming up. This one's a little more dramatic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're going to
Okay.
tell a story about a boating accident.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So get ready for some vivid storytelling.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay.
All right.
All right, so we'll come back to that in
Yeah.
the next part of the deep dive.
Sounds good.
So stay tuned.
Okay. Okay, so are you ready for this story?
Yeah, I want to hear about this boating accident.
All right, well, let's give it a listen.
Okay.
Here we go.
So they crashed.
Yeah, two boats crashed right into each other
Oh my gosh.
in the lake.
Wow, that sounds scary.
Yeah, and then the engine like fell off one of the boats.
Wait.
Yeah, it like fell down to the bottom of the lake,
Oh man.
and they had to hire scuba divers to get it out.
That's crazy.
It is pretty crazy.
Well, at least nobody was hurt.
Yeah, that's the important thing.
I know, and the way they described it was so vivid.
I know, right?
Like I could practically see it happening.
Yeah, it's like they use such simple words,
Yeah.
but it was so effective.
Yeah, like when they said flipped over
Right.
and crashed and fell down to the bottom.
Exactly.
It's like those words are so powerful
They are.
when you use them in the right way.
Right. And, it's like a good reminder
Right.
that you don't always need to use fancy vocabulary
That's true.
to make your English sound good.
Exactly. You can use simple words
Yeah.
and still tell a really great story.
Exactly.
And, I noticed they used the word towards again.
Yeah.
Like when they said he was driving straight towards the island when suddenly it just makes it so clear where the boat was going.
It does.
Prepositions are so important.
I know.
Okay, so now I have a question for you.
Okay.
What if you were telling this story?
Hmm.
What details would you focus on?
That's a good question.
Yeah, would you use the same words?
I don't know.
Or would you describe it differently?
Probably a little differently.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own way of telling a story.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes language so cool.
I know.
There are so many ways to express yourself.
Exactly.
So it's all about finding what works for you.
Yeah, find your own voice.
Okay, so we've talked about swimming styles.
Yes, we have.
We've heard a story about a boating accident.
Uh-huh.
What else can we learn from all of this?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is that you can learn a lot about English
Yeah.
just from listening to people talk.
That's true.
Like even a simple conversation about swimming
Right.
can teach you so much.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be boring.
No, not at all.
It can be really fun
Right.
and engaging.
Yeah, it can.
All right, so we're going to wrap things up in the next part
Okay.
of the deep dive.
So it's good.
So stick around. All right, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive.
Okay.
And we've covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, we have.
We talked about different swimming styles.
Right.
We analyzed some vocabulary.
Uh,
And we even heard that crazy story
yeah.
about the boating accident.
That was a good one. It was. And I think it's amazing how much we can learn
Yeah.
about English
Wow.
just from a simple chat about swimming.
Exactly.
Like we talk about how verbs and adjectives
Right.
can really bring a story to life.
They can.
And we saw how useful a phrase,
Yeah.
like for a little while,
Yeah.
can be.
That's like a little magic phrase.
It is. And then, of course, there are prepositions.
Right. Those little words that make a big difference.
Exactly, like towards.
Exactly.
So important.
There.
And you know what else really stood out to me?
What's that?
Was how they used humor.
Oh, yeah.
Like when they were talking about the scuba divers,
Uh-huh.
it just made the whole story more engaging.
It did.
So, yeah, I think we've learned a lot today.
I think so, too.
And I hope you have too.
Yeah, me too.
So thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
It's been fun.
And we'll see you next time.